Alrighty, welcome back to the Natty News Daily podcast. I am here with my friend from across the pond who just had a very good showing this past weekend, taking third at the ANBF. Ben Lloyd. Ben, how are you, man?
Not too bad. It's past my bedtime, a bit tired, a bit hungry, but yeah, not too bad. Happy with the results at the weekend and looking forward to my next show in a couple of weeks.
Awesome, awesome. So, I do want to get into that because, the production value that the ANBF is putting on and the show that they're putting on and the competitors you were up against and in the pro lineup and then the amateur lineup was stacked too. Like, I'd really love to hear about that experience and such. But why don't you give a quick rundown of your history in competitive bodybuilding? We were talking off air about the seasons that you've done, but you've been competing for a good bit of time. Had a handful of seasons, so you're no noob to the natural bodybuilding scene. You've been climbing the ranks for quite a few years here, which I really respect, by the way.
Mhm. So yeah, I started competing in 2016 and I was 32. I got my pro card in the first year, which I think looking back, it's a physique that wouldn't get a pro card now because the
I was the
standards
same way in my
improved
first season. Yeah.
because the standards improved that much. And then I had 3 years off, competed again 2019, then did 2022, and now I've done this season as well. But I'd say I've improved every time I've competed. Had decent off
Yeah.
seasons. I think I've improved again this time round, just because I've had a really good off season. Got a coach in the off season.
Yeah.
Didn't just get crazy big like I've done in the past, and actually like gain weight in a controlled way. Started prep at a good weight, and hopefully it's going to lead to a better looking physique at the end of the prep as well. Because normally when I prep myself, sometimes I push a little bit too hard, get a bit lean too soon, and then fade away.
Yeah.
But
So why don't we touch on that? So you said you're how old before I
I'm 40 now. Started competing
40?
when I was 32. Yeah.
You started competing when you're I think okay, yeah, okay. You started competing when you're 32. Gotcha. Um Yeah, you've made, significant uh strides in each successive season. But you mentioned particularly in this past one, but I want to I just pick your brain on the things that you've done in general and then working with AJ to do that because like I said, every time like I've seen you, I mean, I remember seeing you in 20, it would have been 22. And I think you got a lot of attention from like Berto was pointing you out and like man, he's really come on. And I noticed it too. Like, man, he's really come on. And then you showed up this year and I'm like, man, he's like in the mix with these top guys now. Like, what the hell is in the water? What is AJ doing to him? Like, what is he doing? So, yeah, why don't you run through kind of how, you do take some time off between seasons. What are you doing between seasons? What have you done in the past? And then how have you made, another big leap from 22 to 24. Probably a similarly sized leap if I had to guess, but it's harder now, right? Obviously with more muscle in your frame, more, you know,
Mhm.
more experience, more time training. So why don't you touch on that? Because I'd love to pick your brain on that.
Well, that's the addictive thing about prepping. You learn from your mistakes. You make mistakes, and then you think, well, I'll rectify that. My first ever prep, I was lean already, so I think, like I said, my lowest weight during that particular diet, I got below 80 kilogram, but I must have started around 84 kilograms. So I work in
Okay, so you're
kilograms,
pretty tight.
unfortunately.
How tall are you, by the way, just for context?
They measured me at this AMBF, and I'm 5'10" now. I'm sure
Okay.
I used to be 6 foot, but I've shrunk.
All that time under the bar, right?
Possibly. So yeah, the first prep started really lean, got leaner, and then naturally you have a bit of a rebound. And I had a big rebound first prep. I gained like over 20 kilogram in the first 6 weeks,
Oh,
and
jeez.
then just started like taking it more seriously. Once you've done a prep, you start right. I never used to follow a training plan even. I just got myself a coach. Wanted to know what he knew about diet really, because I was a PT and I didn't know about diet. I used to tell people just like cut out sugar, just no carbs after 7. But I found a coach that seemed to know what he were on about. So
Mhm.
I contacted him to find out what he knew about diet, really. But he also prepped me. So then I applied that more after the prep, like a bit more knowledge of diet, better training, actually following a training plan because I never used to, like I say, and yeah, got quite big in that. After that rebound, I hit body weights that I've never been before, and I think that actually helped me build some new muscle for 2019. Uh, and then the next prep after that, I made some small improvements. I'd say I gained an extra 2 kilogram, um, but my legs faded away. So I made mistakes with 2022 in that, again, I started the prep too early. You see your competitors starting. It's like he started his diet now. I'm going to start as well. I must have started in January, and I started from about 111 kilograms. So I just got as big as possible. And I wasn't even eating any food towards the end. It were all just shakes, just forcing food, like calories down. And I just thought, if I stay at this weight for long enough, I'm surely going to build some muscle. So I was just walking around like 3XL clothes for ages. But then it just made for a very long prep. And in that
Mhm.
process, as we all know, you lose muscle. So that there's no point doing it. And I think, yeah, in 2022, I was doing lots of PT sessions as well. And I think that didn't help my legs in particular. I was stood up all the time doing loads of PT sessions. A combination of things, just my legs faded away in particular. Whereas this time round, started, I think my maximum weight were about 104 kilogram. Did a proper off season, clean eating, proper diet, hitting a specific calorie target, and yeah, just having AJ there just makes you take it a bit more seriously. I prepped myself. I got a pro card, but I think with AJ, you just yeah, he's a good coach. I mean, he's very attentive. He knows his stuff. I mean, he's got so many clients. He did a post today this weekend. He's
Oh,
prepping
he's
so
been
many.
cleaning up this fall.
He's prepping so many people at the same time, but doing such a good job with him. I don't know how he does it. He must, because like he's very responsive as well. Like I message him and he's bang on it straight away. I just thought you must have like 100 people messaging you, and he's instant with it. So I just think
He's on that AI train now.
he's doing something. I just think he must have some kind of network. He must be sat with numerous laptops everywhere, and he's just like yeah, he's helped a lot, I'd say.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Trying to figure I got two parallel paths I want to run is with, talk about, what you and AJ have done, but also I want to get into um what shows and organizations you've competed with in the prior seasons before we get too far down the rabbit hole of 24. I think let's start on that side. What shows did you do in 19 and 22? What shows, what organizations? How did you do with doing those? And then we'll get into what you've done with AJ and what the magic sauce is over there in the UK.
So yeah, the shows that I do, I'm different, I suppose, in that I do all the shows. Some people are tightly knit to one federation
Yep.
and they won't go for other federations. But I remember first time I competed, I only really knew about one federation. I went to watch a friend compete for the BMBF, who were affiliated with the DFAC. So I thought I'll do that next year. And I thought that was the only drug-free federation at the time, and I just went for that federation only.
Once you
Uh,
learn about getting natural bodybuilding, you go down the rabbit hole. You're like, how many
yeah,
organizations are there?
that's
And then you still find out about a new one like
hmm.
every,
Didn't even
years
know
down the
natural,
line.
but I didn't even know it existed really. I went to watch the show and I just thought, well, this for natural people then, so that they don't take steroids here. And then yeah, you go down that rabbit hole, you find out about other federations. So I went for the DFAC Pro Grand Prix in 2019 as a pro, but I also competed as an amateur for the UK DFBA. I managed to get my pro card then, which
Was
made
that when
me,
it was affiliated with the WNBF?
yes, so I got my WMBF pro card and then competed at Worlds. Did didn't do great there. Come seventh, I think, in the heavyweight category after winning the overall to get the pro card in the UK. So definitely faded towards the end, but they were a really high standard as well. But then because the UKDFB aren't affiliated with the WNBF, I automatically get a PNBA pro card. So I've not actually earned that one. It just
Did you
kind of
get
got,
both? You get both then? Did you keep both then?
yeah.
Not bad. That's a good deal. You got it at a good
It
time.
is. It is. So
Double dip.
yeah. So I've got like three pro cards, so I can compete in all the federations, which is great. And yeah, so I've done a variety of shows. Did the Natural Olympia in 2022. Did the WNBF Worlds again in the heavyweight category. There are only four this time in the heavyweight category. There must have been about 11 in 2019, but there were loads in the middleweight category. But I come third. Barda
You
won.
said Bada won that year, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he won. So I'm happy with third, but I come second at the Natural Olympia, which bit gutted, one place away from first. But apparently, I was speaking to one of the judges. It was unanimous, so at least it wasn't like a close one. But what were funny with that particular show is that like the prize money, they gave out a fair bit. It was like $3,000 for the winner. I got like 700 for coming second. But they had a bonus prize, an all expenses paid trip to Manchester, and Manchester's just down the road here. So I just said, "What happens if I win that?" And they said, "Oh, you
You
probably
sell
would."
the trip.
Well, they said they would have given me the cash. I was just like, "Oh, bloody hell!" So
Oh,
it
that
could
would
have
have
been
been
like,
nice.
yeah, he said it could have been like £6,000 instead of $6,000. Sorry, instead of 700. So I'd be like, "Oh, could have done with that," but just one place away. And I might even do the Natural Olympia this
Was
year.
that Mike? Is it Waddingworth? Who
Who's
won that year? Who beat you that year?
it? Was that Tommy Thompson?
Oh, that was Tommy Thompson. That was Tommy Thompson. Okay, Mike won I think last year. Yeah, yeah. I think it was
Yeah, the
Mike.
oldest chap, weren't he?
Yeah, yeah,
Australian. Yeah. So I
yeah.
might do the Natural
Tommy
Olympia.
Thompson. That's right. You were mentioning off air, Tommy. You competed
Hmm.
against him. Okay, he won that
Yeah.
year.
So
Yeah.
it all depends on this show in Denmark, really, because the people doing the Denmark show will be doing the Olympia, and if I get beat by all the people in Denmark, there's no point in me going to Vegas and getting beat again because logistically AJ said don't do it because it'll mean doing the WNBF Germany show, which I'm gonna do to qualify for Worlds, and then literally as soon as I finish that, fly to Vegas and then fly back home and then fly back to America. So
What a
it's
whirlwind. Yeah.
yeah. So I might do it though. I might because I just want to do as many shows as I can really.
Yeah. Okay, you covered your 22 season. You've competed at, the top shows. You competed at the Natural Olympia. You competed at WNBF Worlds. So coming into this season, why don't we touch on what you've done with AJ in the past 2 years, how you've been able to make big improvements and really throw your name in the mix, even more than you had in prior season. Like I said, especially at the ANBF this past weekend, like you really showed up
Mm.
and made a statement, I think. So what did you do during your off season with AJ? Um, and when did you start working with AJ? Was it right coming out of your 22 season?
It was in March. It was March the 6th.
Okay.
That's the year after March the 6th because it was my birthday. I didn't know it was my birthday, but I signed up with him on my birthday, and he just provided that structure in the off season, which previous off season I've just eaten what I wanted, trained whenever, but now I had a proper structured training plan to follow, strict macros that I had to hit. I wasn't at first, I was just kind of going for calories, and he was like, "No, I want you to actually focus on hitting your targets more and just doing things like weekly pausing, like physique updates. So you're keeping on top of your pausing in the off season as well."
Yeah.
And I did stop with him for a couple of weeks towards Christmas. I went quiet with work and I was just panicking a bit. I thought, I can't afford a coach now. And then I got him back after a couple of weeks. I just thought, I'm just taking it easy again. I'm starting going for takeaways. I'm starting like just not sticking to my training plan. Just, I think you benefit from the accountability, definitely. And just having a timeline in place and just the training plan has not been changed once, which I don't mind because as soon as I tried it, I just thought this training plan is a good one. It's a
Yeah.
really good one that doesn't really need to be changed because
Yeah.
I'm recovering in the nick of time. I'm not deloading. I think he's just letting because I've got a bit of experience. He's not like telling me to do everything. I don't enjoy deloading, so there is a bit of communication between us. And if I think somebody will listen to it and say, "Well, you know your body, you
Yeah.
carry on then." And yeah, like I say, just it works similar to me in terms of the peak week that we've just done. That was the first peak week. It was a progressive load. When I've coached myself, I've done the same thing. Progressive linear load of carbs, albeit a very small load.
When do you start loading? What day of the week typically?
It was, what did we do? It was Sunday. The show on Saturday. We started just tapering up a little bit on Sunday, just
Okay,
dropping
so
down.
real early, like a week out.
Yeah, yeah, just started, just
Okay.
like I say, reducing your workout intensity. But like I say, it's just increased them a little bit. I remember again when I've done it myself and I've got up to like 800 grams of carbs, but again, I've been leaner and my body's just sorted it up. I'm not quite shredded yet. So, on the actual show day, I suggested to him for this last show, this oats meal that I was going to have, shall I leave that one and just have the chicken meal that I'm going to have later, like chicken and veg? He said, right, we'll leave the oats meal, we'll just have the chicken and some dark chocolate. You feel like you're full enough. So there's communication still. And yeah, he's just like I say, he's been good. And it'll be interesting to see how it goes over, the next few weeks. Because like I say, I've got a show in 2 weeks, a show in 4 weeks, and a show in 7 weeks. How he handles it, and he wants me to lose more weight. He just says, right, when we did that peak week, your weight was 88.1 kilogram. We need to get it a kilogram lighter than what it were. So this week, in particular, we're digging.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Very, very, very nice. Yeah, I like a lot of that. The diligence in the off season, I'm a fan of that. I think some people miss that, but it makes a difference. I mean, it's a time when you're building actually building the muscle, right? So, taking advantage of that time and to actually grow and to actually apply, intentional work to that time period, I think makes a big difference on that side, the training side, the sleep side. Not that there can't be a little bit more flexibility without, having, a rigid, yeah, I have to be ready in 2 weeks sort of thing. Like, but even that, it's like, at least for me, like meals out, it's like I'm going to make conscious, wise decisions with my macros and calories in mind. Like if I go to Chipotle or whatever, it's like I'm not just gonna eat whatever. It's like I'm gonna eat mindfully, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
go out for sushi and I get, make sure I'm not just eating whatever I feel like, right? But
Mm.
yeah,
Is
I
the-
think it makes a difference, and I've seen it in my own protocols. But I mean, in my own progress. But it reflects on what the changes you've been able to make from
mm.
22 to 24, I think at least, and then getting in a good rhythm and getting good systems in place. So,
I
yeah.
think
So
I
yeah,
think you
yeah,
can.
is a
I
comment on
think
that?
you can get too big in the off season, definitely. Where I think there's a sweet spot for building muscle where you're
Yeah,
just not like really fat. And I've been just a bit too fat in the past. I've stayed relatively lean. You look at a lot of the top guys; they stay relatively lean as well, and I think that's helped as well. And I've also changed the way I train. It's not just shift the weight; it's shift it, properly, especially on
With
legs.
intent. Yeah,
Better technique. So the leg presses, hack squats, different foot positions, humbling foot positions where you're weaker, where it's creating all that knee flexion. Um, I used to put like 5 plates on each side of the hack squat, and now it's just like 3 plates, and you feel weaker, but it's working the target muscle more. It's not like ego lifting as much, and that's another thing that, like AJ said, he said, clearly before my legs faded, I was doing something wrong, so I just completely overhauled it. Which the
yeah.
initial transition was bad for my ego. It's like, oh, I feel so weak, but I think it's improved my legs. So it's not the weight that you lift. Well, it is,
It
but
is,
the
but
right the right technique.
with the right execution. Yeah, and I think that's important to point out, especially like UK boys, like AJ and a lot of guys that he coaches in his circle. I mean, move a lot of tonnage in the gym. Like
Mhm.
You see them, they're moving a lot of plates in the hack squat, a lot of plates on movements, but it's with intent, and I think that's really important to emphasize. It's not adding plates just for the sake of adding plates. It's setting good parameters and then adding plates.
Mhm.
But yeah, I love that. I love that moving with intent. And
It's different ways of training as well. Some people leave like reps in reserve. There's like different ways of doing it, and they'll have a week where they'll push to failure. I think AJ is similar to me in that, we push more sets to failure. We only
yeah,
do like one, a couple of working sets to failure, log it down, try and beat it instead of leaving reps in reserve.
yeah. I've drifted. I'm not. I still leave reps occasionally, but I've drifted a little bit more towards being closer to failure more often
Hmm.
and spending more time there. And I think it's benefited me. But yeah, and it proof's in the pudding for you. So. Um, but getting into this season, this 24 season, so uh, what shows have you done? Obviously, I know that you just competed at the ANBF, and how did you go about selecting those shows then? Um, and I really want to talk about the Danish championships because I'm I'm biased. I will be there. We will be there for commentary. I will see you there. And I like what Daniel's doing, but I want to hear it from your perspective why you picked that show too. But
Well, to be honest, AJ helped me pick. He listed some shows. I were going to do the UK FBA Pro show, but there's no Pro show, so we wiped that one off. I were initially thinking the WNBF UK Pro show, but there's no Pro show for
I can't
that.
believe
So
they don't have a pro event.
they did do this weekend gone, but they had no bodybuilding because it's relatively new. A lot of the pros that was
Yeah,
with the WNBF went to the PNBA, so there's not
yeah,
many
that's
like
true.
new
You
UK
would think you
pros.
get a lot of people traveling from other Germany and from other. I don't know. I
I'd
could
have
be
done
wrong.
it, but he only did it for men's physique, I think, and a few
Okay,
like female categories. So
Andrew,
he
you gotta
based,
you gotta add that pro event. People will come, I think.
I'd have, I'd have done it, yeah. So almost forced to go abroad. I did have the option of doing the DFAC UK show, the Pro Grand Prix, but I just thought I'd try this AMBF one instead. I could have possibly done both, but I think AJ
What they're
really
doing
pushed
with
me.
the ANBF though, like it's like that production value, at least from what I've seen from across the pond.
It were amazing. It
What
like
was it
the
like
venue,
competing at?
amazing. I mean, they're all good shows that I've done, definitely,
Yeah,
but this one just seemed just extra special. Just like I say, all the camera work, the drones that were flying around, the size of the actual venue, everything were on time as well. They say you'll be on at this time, and I think we more or less were.
I love that.
And the music were good. Like I was just saying, we got given loads of stuff, loads of hoodies. The hoodie is the heaviest hoodie I've ever felt. It's just like they're not cutting back on materials. It's like so heavy and weighty. Um,
They're just
yeah,
doing
this,
everything right and professionally, right?
yeah, they were
Makes
the
a
tan
difference. It makes a
was really
difference.
good. The tans are tans, aren't they? So, but yeah, just everything about it were really good, well run, and obviously look good as well. Like I've watched some of the videos, stage lighting were good. Standard were good. I mean, for Pinnock, I were a bit daunted with that. I did say to AJ, I said, in hindsight, it would have been good to pick some shows that I might win instead of not going for all these really hard shows. Because I've picked, I'd say the hardest ones.
Yeah.
There's no easy pro shows, obviously, but they were going for the WNBF Germany, which I think I was speaking to Julian at the end. We are doing our drugs, a urine test. I said, "Are you competing again?" Then he's like, "Yeah, I'm doing the Germany show." I'm like, "Oh, you don't have to do that
Killing
one.
me.
You don't have to do that." But he said he might do. I said, "You don't want to do that." And he said he might do WNBF Worlds, but I think that'll be a long diet if he does that because he's already done a few shows. I think,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, like I say, it was an unbelievable show, and Denmark will be good as well.
What drew you to that one?
I've done it before, linked to the PNBA as well. So I want to like kind of do a show with all the federations. So I've done the DFAC, which I'm a pro. I've got a pro card, a PNBA. So that's the opportunity to do show with them, and maybe the Olympia, and obviously the WNBF, which I would have done the qualifier in the UK instead of Germany if they did one, but as it is, just the timeline, the logistics, it just fell right to do that one and not the. I think there's got one in Switzerland, but I think it might clash with like Denmark or something. So I've had to pick Germany and then
It's all about
WM.
prioritizing, right? It's like it's a challenge every season, isn't it?
Well, it is, yeah. Like I say, we've got a timeline, we've got the shows mapped out. I was going to do an untested show in the UK, but I think AJ's put me off it. He said you'll just get beat by some monster that's not twice the size of you. So yeah, might as well not bother.
Yeah, and it's like you've always got competing priorities. Like I'd like to do this show or this organization, but it's like, yeah, like it's like okay, is it worth doing that over another when you got a show that's a higher priority?
Well, he says from the start WNBF Worlds is the priority, but I mean, it's not a show that again I think, oh, I'm going to win that show just because the standard's so high. It's just like, yeah, it's an important show, but I just thought in hindsight, just maybe pick some easier ones.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it's worth doing those hard shows. Like, uh, I I really think it's worth putting yourself in the mix, even if it's not going to go your way. You know, it's not going to go, necessarily your way. It's like, where do I stand amongst these top guys, right? Like, there's something to that, and I don't know.
Well,
At least it seems like you came out of the NBF show like with your head held pretty high, and you should like
it's
to.
put me on a high now, is that actually? To be honest, I said to AJ, I wasn't confident on the day. I just said I'm hoping for top five. It'll be amazing if we get top five, and to get third has put me on a high now. I'm ready for the next ones. I'm more confident because I would literally just you look at everyone, don't you? You see who's competing, you think, flipping it, look at him, look at him.
How am I gonna beat this guy? How am I gonna beat that guy? Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't uploading any pictures. I just thought, well, it's not as good as their pictures because you only upload your best pictures. And I wasn't quite. I'm not quite lean enough at the minute. We're looking at my physique and thinking I've still got fat on my glutes and my hamstrings. That needs to come off. But he says, yeah, we've got to be 90% for this show, and I'm like, it's a long way to come. It's such a high standard show not to be 100%. But he said we can't be 100% now. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's benefit of having a coach as well.
But I did pull up the graphic that we put together with the DFNA. Um, got you against Christian Kellenberger. So we've been putting together these matchups. What do you think about the graphics and how do you like it? Do you like to have the pressure we put on you or the hype or what do you think?
I think it's great. Yeah, just like AMBF did it as well, didn't they? Like select your player and like that. And yeah, but then you read the comments, don't you? And it's Benjamin Schuster who won the medium category at WNBF Worlds. He did
Yep.
like a poll. Who have you got for top five? And you read it, and no one's got me on there. I just thought, flipping it, it's getting me down this. But
Shows ain't one on Instagram, man.
no, but you get people's opinions. You kind of see what people are saying. But yeah, I think it's a good idea to just compare people like that.
Yeah, yeah. We like to build hype for it. So um, yeah. So well, I'm looking forward to seeing you in a couple weeks. So what's your goal for that show?
Well, it'll be good to do well. I mean, if we come top three again, that'll be amazing. It's just all about who shows up, doesn't it? I've not
Yeah,
stoked that show like the AMBF one because obviously they announced who's all these pros that are competing. I know a few like obviously good bodybuilders that are competing, but if I can just get another kilogram off, I reckon I'll look better than I did. But it's just that push and pull. This is why I've got AJ for now more than ever.
yeah.
Because I was like straight away, should I do some cardio? I'm going to do 15,000 steps. I said to him today, he says, no, stick to 10 and just rein it in a bit. And it's the volume session. I said, I'm going to smash this leg session today. And he's like, just do one set for a hack squat, one leg press, one lunge. I was like, oh, we're going to do two. So he's just
I
pulled me
think
back a
that's a
little.
telling of a good athlete and then a good coach that can reel in because a good athlete like is a lot of times it's like I want to dig more. Like I need to dig, I need to dig, I need to do more, I need to do more. And then the coach is like, no, we don't want to do more. Or it's like I want to do more. Like it's that push and pull, and that's I think it speaks to, the athletes that are willing to do what it takes, not necessarily what's comfortable, with that end goal in mind, and then a coach that's able to, keep the reins on and be like, no, objectively, I don't know that that's gonna help you out, right?
Mm.
So,
I
but
think
you've got 2 weeks between shows here, so you said you're back to digging. Are you gonna dig up till Sunday then, and then start bringing things back up on Sunday again, or are you gonna dig a little bit longer? I'm curious to the protocol, just because you're not quite as flat, maybe.
that's what I mean. It'll be interesting to see what he said. I know what
Okay,
I'd probably like to do myself is probably just dig all the way till show day. Um, but
you got a peak though.
that's what I mean. But I like the flat look. If I can capture my morning look, I change completely in the evening compared to the morning. It's really strange. That flat, depleted look looks good on me, really. So if it was me, I'd just keep digging pretty much all the way. I remember doing one show when I coached myself. I didn't change anything, just went into the show, just thought, I look like this. I'm not going to do anything. And that was a good look, really. But
Yeah.
we'll see what he says. This week, definitely is digging. He dropped my calories today and I've been on my fitness, but he gives me a meal plan, but I always just rejig it a little bit because I really like my porridge oats with protein powder mixed in.
Every time you get a little decrease, you're like, oh, I have to like, you're like, okay, how am I gonna make these little manipulations throughout the day? Like, okay, I'll take off like 5 grams here, 5 grams of this. Yeah,
Oh
I
yeah,
know exactly how that goes.
well, I've hit the macros to the gram, and tomorrow I've sacrificed some of my protein powder that goes in with my porridge for some egg whites. So I'm gonna volumize my porridge a bit more, and I have porridge 4 times a day. That's my meal plan. Basically, is oats and protein powder. It's just and
But it
one.
tastes amazing at this point in time,
Oh,
right?
it's amazing. I've got
What kind of
over
protein powder? What flavor are you doing? You standard chocolate guy, or you a vanilla guy, or
I've got over 10 different flavors, so I
oh, so
just
you got
like
all the different flavors,
just
yeah.
alternate. I'm just like, right, I fancy that one now. Go for this. My girlfriend thinks I've got a problem. I'm like, I've just ordered some more protein
Do
powder.
you have 3 meals like that in a day, you said? That are like that?
Four.
Four. Okay,
I've
so
had
so do you go on like a run where you're like, okay, I'm obsessed with chocolate. Every meal's chocolate, or is it like
no
every day
mix.
it's like, I'll do chocolate here, vanilla here, and then
What I'm most due to do. So I've almost got a mental note. I've not had that one for a bit, so I'm gonna have that one. But you do kind of find a favorite, and the ones that I've categorically just thought I'll leave them until I'm gaining. I've put in garage. It's like peanut butter flavor and one that had a few more carbs in it. It wasn't a proper isolate, and I thought I'm cheating with that
yeah,
because I'm tracking it like an isolate, and it's a concentrate. It's got like 2 grams more carbs than it should do.
yeah.
So I've put that in garage as well.
What's your current favorite right now though?
I like Mutant ISO Surge. I think they're amazing. Coconut cream's a good one.
Oh, you're a coconut
Cookies
guy.
and cream.
I like coconut.
Yeah,
Good
I've got.
coconut. I haven't found, I don't know if I've had a good coconut. I've had a few coconut flavored proteins. They've been okay, but I haven't had a good coconut one, I don't think. Like I'm a
Yeah,
big
but
coconut fan, but I just haven't protein. I haven't found one that.
that one's different. I've tried a few coconut, but the coconut cream by Mutant is really nice. They're all good by Mutant. I've got some Perform Whey ones, which I never used to like, but the isolates aren't too bad. To be honest, anything's nice at the minute. Um,
Yeah, oh yeah.
I've got 2 tubs which I've not even opened yet, which I'm not going to because I
You're
think
hoarding protein at this point in time.
I am. It's but so yeah, I just alternate between the flavors really. But it's the first diet that I've done like this really, where I've just settled with porridge oats just because it's my favorite meal.
Nice, nice. So very good. So you got Denmark in a couple weeks, and then you got Natural Olympian Worlds in Germany, right?
Yeah, well, WNBF
Not in that order, but
Germany, and then the Natural Olympia is like 2 days after. So it's just if I decide to do that, it's literally
yeah.
finish, fly to Vegas, compete there, fly home, then fly to Boston. So it's going to be just flying here, there, and everywhere. I was thinking, should I stay? Because last time in 2022 there was a week apart, and it was a. I said, I think it's age. I said, I might just hire a car. He said, no, no, Boston is a long way away from Vegas.
Yeah, yeah, the
So
United States. Yeah, some people are like, "Are you close to New York?" Like 6, 7 hours. Like, oh,
yeah,
yeah.
I thought
And
everything
actually,
were.
like in the States, actually, that's close. That's actually pretty close for us because that we're still like I'm still basically East Coast or close to East Coast. But yeah,
Mm,
Vegas to Boston. Yeah, that's a
that a bit.
flight.
I was just
That's a
like,
flight.
well, I'm going to hire a car. I said, I'll hire a car and drive across. So he's like, no, no, it's opposite from the country. Because that's what we did in 2022. It was just a week apart. We hired a car from Vegas to California. So we did Olympia, me and my roommate
You
who
could do
also could.
that. You could do that trip. Yeah, those are close, pretty close.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
yeah,
states here are like countries in Europe,
yeah.
basically. Like going from one state to the other state is like going from one country to the next bordering country
It's
in Europe.
massive, isn't it, compared to England? Yeah,
A lot more land. But
yeah.
yeah, that's you've got to, you know, had a great start to your season here and got a lot to look forward to here. Um, yeah, so what's the plans not to look too far beyond things, but beyond the season? Are you gonna shut it down at Worlds? And I mean, I guess that's kind of where shows kind of shut down. So, what do you
Yeah.
think about like not to jump too far? I'm gonna jump far ahead, but will you take an extended off season, or have you not thought that far ahead, or talk with AJ on that? Yeah, just focused on the goal right now.
Well, I've always said to my girlfriend, this is the last one. I've always said this is the last prep, and then time passes and you think, right, I've got another one. But I've been regarding this one as my last one because, like I say, I'm 40, and I just think after 40, I'm going to go worse. My physique's going to
I
decline.
don't think so.
So I was like, this is my last good prep where I can like come in on a high because I don't know. It's almost a bit of pressure thinking time's running out. I'd so wish I were
I think it's good to keep
younger.
the pressure on, but yeah, you're gonna change your mind. Come out of off
I
season,
probably
you'll
will.
work in off season with AJ. Like, oh shit, I've made improvements.
That's what I reckon might happen. I might
Gonna
even
happen.
finish this prep and be like, could I compete next year? Can I do it again next year? But it's just a big sacrifice, isn't it?
Yeah,
Really,
I understand
I've got
that.
two young kids and my girlfriend, and you take it so serious, and it's such a sacrifice, isn't it? Really. So
Yeah, no,
we'll
I
see.
completely understand that. Yeah.
We'll see. I do enjoy it in a strange way, but probably have a year off. How about yourself? Are you compete when you next competing?
Other than this weekend, likely, I don't know. I haven't thought too deeply about it. It would likely be either 26 or 27. That would be
How old are
that.
you?
I'm 31.
So yeah, it's a great age because you've got many preps ahead of you, and
Yeah,
you
I feel that way. Yeah.
yeah. So there's no pressure. It takes the pressure off you a little bit, which can help really. Just like thinking, well, if this goes wrong, I'll just do another one, and I'll be even better that one.
Yeah, yeah. No, I don't feel that way. I feel like I'm confident I'll bring my best this year. But yeah, I think I've taken 3 years off or three years between each season. So that's kind of been my normal cadence. Not too dissimilar from yourself. You've been 2 or 3. I
Hmm.
did 18, 21, and 24. So maybe I'll carry that on and do 27. But as we touched on, like I'm not feeling as run down, so I don't think my recovery turnaround is going to be as long. So maybe I compete in 26. But yeah, haven't thought too far ahead. But yeah, likely 26, 27, maybe 28. I mean, life circumstances can change and stuff like that. I'm open to that changing and modifying the plans. But yeah, somewhere in that range. So.
Yeah. Well,
Cool, cool, Ben.
yeah.
I know it's past your bedtime here, so I don't want to keep you on too much longer. But I appreciate you coming on, and I'm gonna see you a good bit this year. I'll see you in 2 weeks in Denmark, and I'll likely see you at Worlds, and my face will be a little fatter. So actually, my face will hopefully my face won't be too fat in Denmark since it's only a week post show for me. But
Well,
yeah,
we'll
yeah. So,
see. Yeah,
but
well, thanks for having me on. Really appreciate it.
yeah, awesome. Yeah, like I said, you're having an epic start to the season. I'm looking forward to seeing what you bring the rest of the year. So, everyone, if they want to follow you, where can they find you on Instagram and see the legit stage shots rather than the hiding in the dark?
Yeah. Ben Lloyd Fitness is my Instagram name.
Awesome, awesome. Ben, I appreciate you jumping on this shotgun podcast that we teed up this morning, and yeah, we'll talk soon, man, and I'll see you in person in a couple weeks.
Brilliant. Yeah. Thanks again.
Thank you.